Isn't it odd how silence in a bustling room can feel like a thunderstorm cracking right above your head? Picture this: people laughing, yet you're standing there, heart racing, believing they can hear every single thought running through your mind. Even a simple hi can feel like stepping barefoot on shards of glass. If you've been in that situation, trust me, you're not alone. Welcome to the wild world of social anxiety. Hey everyone, welcome to Psychologist Jeep, the quiet corner of the internet made for overthinkers, anxious souls, and people who rehearse what to say before every phone call. If crowds make your chest tighten or small talk feels like climbing a mountain, you're not broken, you're just human, wired a little differently. So if you've ever left a party replaying every word in your head, welcome home. Take a second to like this video, share it with someone who gets it, and drop a comment below, telling us where you're watching from. It's comforting to know we're all a little anxious, just in different corners of the world. Now, let's debunk a myth right here. It's not just being shy or preferring Netflix over parties. Nope. It's a wild psychological ride that grips your nervous system. You're caught in a tug-of-war between wanting connection like it's the last donut in the break room, and fearing judgment like it's an announcement of your middle school fashion choices. It's quite the paradox that makes your body tense up while your mind screams for belonging. And when the clamoring thoughts invade, you feel a bit like a deer in headlights. Did I say something wrong? Are they judging my choice of shoes? You know, the usual spiral down the rabbit hole of self-doubt. That inner dialogue, it's a relentless chat that's just buzzing on replay. It's fascinating, yet heartbreaking, the way social anxiety twists the mind into knots. Deep inside, there's a little gremlin known as the amygdala that's hyperactive in anxiety-riddled brains. What that essentially means is that even harmless social situations can feel like a high-stakes game show. Each gesture is magnified as if you're the star of a live performance, sweating under the spotlight. It's biology doing its thing. But boy, does it feel like a raw deal when something as simple as conversation feels life-threatening. And here's where the plot thickens. Social anxiety is often a chameleon, lurking beneath the surface. It doesn't always look like the image of a shaky voice or clammy hands. No. It can wear a perfectly rehearsed smile while your brain is screaming for a quick escape route. It shows up as last-minute planned cancellations when you've been eager to join in on the fun. Welcome to the exhausting masquerade of ordinary existence. But wait, there's more. Beneath this cacophony lies an intricate sensitivity. Those with social anxiety often notice nuances others gloss over, like the subtle shift in a friend's mood or the tiniest change in tone. Imagine having an emotional radar tuned to the max, sensing every emotional wave crashing around you. That ultimate awareness isn't a curse, it's just perception turned inward, often to the point where it becomes overwhelming. The roots of social anxiety are a tangled web of genetic threads and learned habits. Some might inherit it like an awkward family heirloom. Others develop it in atmospheres where self-expression feels like walking through a minefield. Humiliation has a subtle yet painful way of embedding itself, making you second-guess yourself. So, it's no surprise that after years of wrestling with anxiety, your focus shifts inward, making you obsess over how the world perceives you, rather than experiencing the world for all its craziness and beauty. Every moment feels like it's happening under a magnifying glass. It's as if you've got a spotlight on your every move. And the silence, oh boy, that's a minefield. It becomes personal proof that you've either blabbed too much or clammed up completely. But don't confuse this with vanity. It's sheer vigilance at work, at its very heart. Social anxiety is about the fear of emotional exposure, not just letting someone see you in your pajamas. Imagine, if you will, suddenly realizing that your authentic self might not be accepted. That's where the trouble brews. And the usual cheerleading advice like just be confident or don't care what others think is about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Logically, deep down, anxiety sufferers know that people are way too busy worrying about their own lives to scrutinize them. But good luck trying to explain that to an anxious mind. When your body thinks it's in danger, all reason flies out the window. So, what happens when your own body turns into a battlefield? You find yourself with a voice that quakes during what should be a simple chat, and silence is misread as haughty aloofness. The constant effort to blend in can feel like you're in a survival show, except there are no reality show prizes in sight. You're just trying to go through your day without clocking in as the awkward one. But here's a surprising twist. Social anxiety isn't strictly a flaw. Sometimes, it's an overzealous form of empathy. Your brain is like an emotional dad, always worried about everyone's feelings, anticipating reactions even before someone opens their mouth. You've been conditioned to dodge discomfort, only to find yourself absorbing it like a sponge. This heightened sensitivity can make social situations daunting. But it also has its perks. It enables profound connections with others. Living with this relentless mind can be brutal. Imagine rehearsing every conversation before it even starts and playing round after round of "what did I just say?" in your head afterward. It gets exhausting. The irony, the more you attempt to contain this anxiety, the louder it starts hollering back at you. It's like trying to hold down a balloon in water. It just wants to pop back up. Welcome to the paradox of control, a classic psychological riddle. The harder you grip the reins of your internal state, the more it gallops away from you. That's why telling yourself to calm it down is about as effective as using a butter knife to chop down a tree. You've got to learn to understand the feelings instead of battling them. It's like recognizing that your racing heart is merely your body's version of a fire drill, not a betrayal. Therapists often pull out their toolboxes filled with exposure therapy or cognitive behavioral techniques to tackle social anxiety. These methods don't magically vanish the fear. They're more about reprogramming how the brain reacts to it. Gradually exposing yourself to social scenarios teaches you essential lessons. It's all right to feel awkward. Silence isn't a death sentence, and tripping over a word doesn't equal complete doom. It's not about erasing fear. It's about understanding that fear doesn't define who you are. At its core, social anxiety echoes one of life's oldest yearnings, the desire to belong. Every clammy palm, every awkward pause, resonates back to that singular truth: you crave connection. Yet, paradoxically, it's that very connection that social anxiety often sabotages. Healing this anxiety goes beyond just the mind. It's about re-establishing that vital thread of connection with yourself and others. So, strap in for the journey. It's bound to be wild. Overcoming social anxiety is quite a spiritual journey. Let me tell you, it's all about embracing who you are, imperfect and radiant, without any apologies. The tricky part is letting the world in, even if you risk being misunderstood. You see, social anxiety isn't just an issue of fear. It's a twisty tale of how we view ourselves. Somewhere along the way, that mirror reflecting you got all fogged up, and you started thinking your worth hinges on others' approvals. Before you know it, you start shrinking. You speak in hushed tones and tiptoe around, practically fading into the wallpaper. One day, you look around and realize, yikes, your life has become so minuscule that it no longer accommodates your vibrant soul. But here's the kicker: everyone with social anxiety has that pivotal moment. Whether it creeps up quietly or crashes like a thunderstorm, they realize hiding from life comes at a much steeper price than the fear of judgment. And with that realization, change begins to blossom. Now, change doesn't come through brute force or faking confidence. It blooms through gentle self-love. You see, the most confident folks aren't devoid of fear. They've simply learned to coexist with it. They've taken that anxiety and put it in a cozy little corner instead of letting it take the lead. If you find yourself grappling with this, take heart. Your anxiety doesn't render you broken. It merely makes you human, and that kind of awareness can be your best teacher. Understanding your mind unlocks a whole new perspective. Suddenly, the world doesn't feel as unforgiving, and people aren't as fixated on your every move as you thought. Moments of silence, not judgment. Sometimes, they offer unexpected peace, and that meek, trembling voice of yours, it might be the lifeline someone else desperately needs. Living with social anxiety is quietly heroic. A daily exercise in courage that most people overlook. Every time you enter a room, your heart pounding like a bass drum, or muster the courage to speak up, you are showcasing the purest form of bravery. While society showers praise on loud confidence, it forgets that the silent endure through a strength all their own. Those with social anxiety often possess a rich layer of introspection. Observing the world as though they're undercover anthropologists, they observe body language and the swift changes of emotions, crafting a narrative that spills from experience rather than textbooks. However, this keen sense of awareness can feel like a double-edged sword. Constantly gauging the emotional climate can transform you from a participant in life to merely a spectator. You become a master of reading the room yet forget to embrace your place within it. Healing from social anxiety isn't just about kicking fear to the curb. It's about peeling back the layers to uncover your authentic self. Picture a child playing in the park, laughter ringing out, blissfully unaware of who's watching. That was the essence of freedom before anxiety crashed the party. Social anxiety often clings to us, a reminder of past emotional dangers lurking around every corner. It's like your mind's own alarm system, nagging you, "Hey, remember that awkward moment." But the truth is, you're not that frightened kid anymore. You've grown. It's time to give your voice the spotlight it deserves. There's a world out there waiting for you. So why not step into it, unapologetically? One of the biggest misunderstandings is that social anxiety equals being antisocial. Quite the contrary. Most folks grappling with anxiety are social butterflies, just ones that flutter a little too much. They're like empath celebrities, overthinking every interaction, constantly calculating potential emotional fallout. It's not about avoiding connection. It's about striving for a connection so perfect it becomes paralyzing. But spoiler alert, nobody bonds over a perfection parade. They connect through real conversations steeped in honest vulnerability. When you embrace that humbling truth, your world shifts a little. You shake off the performance anxiety and turn the spotlight inward to truly feel others instead of worrying about your own script. The more you focus on listening rather than rehearsing, the more warm energy bounces back to you. It's a funny twist. By letting go of that tight performance act, you invite trust. And let's be real, who doesn't want to hear that sweet validation of being truly present? Now, let's dig into the brain science behind it. Social anxiety lights up some fascinating parts of your noggin, especially the amygdala and the medial prefrontal cortex, which means your brain is essentially insisting that every social snag revolves around you. Imagine feeling like you're under a spotlight while everyone's just lost in their own head. But here's a pro tip. Mindfulness and acceptance-based therapy help flip that script, reminding you that silence isn't a judgmental firing squad. Sometimes, people are just zoning out. Even though this journey sounds straightforward, let's be honest, it can be a wobbly ride. One day, you'll feel like a charismatic social bee, and the next you might want to hide under a blanket. That's part of the process. Healing isn't about tossing fear out the window. It's all about reclaiming your choices. Sure, anxiety might still hang around, but soon enough, it'll stop calling all the shots in your life. Amidst that chaos lies a silver lining. Your empathy transforms from an uncomfortable weight to a breathtaking strength. Once you've felt the sting of invisibility, you'll fight tooth and nail to ensure others don't feel that way. You begin to listen in ways that resonate deeply because you recognize what it means to feel unheard. That's the beauty wrapped beneath the layers of social anxiety, a soul brimming with kindness and understanding, ready to shine like the sun. Ultimately, the understanding of social anxiety is evolving, and a quiet revolution is taking place in psychology. Society is realizing that beneath the surface of anxiety lies passion, depth, and a heart that cares fiercely. It's not about stripping away the anxiety but embracing your humanness. With every stride you take, remember, no one is perfect, and it's our shared imperfections and experiences that bond us. So, let's welcome the lovely messiness of connection together. For ages, the spotlight has been on fixing all the flaws. But guess what? It's time to flip the script and shine a light on what's actually good in our struggles. Embracing this change is key, because once you settle into the idea that you're not broken, growth becomes inevitable. Social anxiety isn't a quirky personality trait. It's just your nervous system being overly cautious. It's like your mind, in a misguided effort to help, decided that blending in was the key to survival. But blending in isn't the grand finale of your story. You're destined to bloom. Now, blooming doesn't always come with fireworks and confetti. Sometimes it starts with the tiniest acts of rebellion against fear. Think of it as your personal revolution. Holding eye contact just a smidge longer, speaking up when your heart screams sure, and cherishing the natural pauses in conversations instead of hurriedly filling them. Sure, these acts might seem modest from the outside, but they're actually monumental victories. Each small win is a step towards choosing presence over protection, and as you keep at it, those tiny triumphs can rewire your brain in ways you never expected. Here's the plot twist that no one talks about. When anxiety finally eases up, it's not just a sense of relief, it can bring a strange emptiness too. After clutching onto anxiety like a security blanket, you might start to wonder, who am I without it? The silence, once a relentless weight, transforms into something oddly serene. The good news is, anxiety never erased your essence, it just veiled it beneath layers of self-doubt. And let me tell you, deep down, you've always been someone worthy of knowing. People often misjudge social anxiety as a sign of disliking others, but the reality is often endearingly complicated. You tend to love people to the moon and back, imagining their disappointment before they've even formed a thought. You silently bear their potential judgments, living in their minds while neglecting your own. It's both a beautiful and tragic dance of wanting to fit in so desperately that you forget you're already accepted. Here's where the magic happens. Acceptance stems from within you. The same compassion you shower others with, it's time to direct it back at yourself. Give yourself the patience, understanding, and forgiveness that you readily offer your friends. You're not merely a series of anxious moments. You're the unwavering spirit that perseveres through them. You're the brave soul who shows up with shaky hands, still hopeful, bursting with dreams of belonging. Picture this: one day, anxiety will echo like a distant memory rather than crashing waves. You'll glide into a room without bracing for a tsunami of judgments. When you speak, the words will flow as if they're truly yours, and silence after won't weigh you down like a brick. It'll wrap around you like a cozy blanket. You'll discover that the harsh judgments you feared were never as severe as the ones you directed at yourself. That's your golden nugget of wisdom, realizing you were never judged as harshly as you thought. In this enlightening moment, ease creeps back in. You'll feel the joy of being seen without the need to perform. The delight of existing unapologetically. So, take a deep breath. You've been battling invisible demons for what feels like forever. Yet here you are, still standing, still learning to speak even when your voice quivers. There's something astonishing about that. Remember, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's a gentle whisper that says, "I'll give it another shot tomorrow." And believe me, sometimes that whisper is powerful enough to spark a life-altering change.